Hey guys, what's up? This is Nikhil from dopemotions.com and welcome to this brand new After Effects tutorial. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to create this really cool and kind of advanced looking glitch intro in After Effects. So without any further ado, let's get straight into the video and get started. Alright, so here we are in After Effects. So as always, I'm going to start by creating a new composition. Let's rename this to main comp. 1920 into 1080, 30 frames, 10 seconds looks good enough, and hit OK. Then right off the bat, I'm going to go and type in a text which is going to be a logo. Now it can be anything that you want to go with. I'm just going to type in TCH glitch. I hope I can spell this right. Yep. And let's select a really good font, maybe a Dharma. Yep, that looks pretty good right off the bat. Let's set this to 250 and let's use this as our logo. Now you can add your logo obviously. So here we have it. Let's pre-comp this and call this composition logo, which you can anytime go and replace it, doesn't really matter. So there we have our logo. Then I'm gonna add some glitch effect, and to use kind of a glitchy effect, what I have here right now is a screen glitch footage, which I'll provide the link. The link to every asset right over here is going to be in the description, which is absolutely free. You can go and download it. So let's drag in this one above our logo. So there we have it. We don't need to see it, we can just hide it. And I'm going to go and create a new adjustment layer and just rename this to map, because this is going to be our displacement map. So select the layer and add an effect called displacement map. There we go. And you're right over there in the displacement map layer. I'm going to select the screen glitch footage. So now we have something like that. You can play around with the horizontal spacing, the vertical spacing, and create some really cool looking glitches. As you can see, really cool. So now what I can do is I can just go to maybe around 2 seconds and crop this up. Let's hit Ctrl Shift D to split this up. Actually go to 3 seconds and hit Alt and close bracket to crop this up. Then go to, let's say, around 3 seconds 10 frames and hit Alt and close bracket. So now we have those glitches, something randomly happening in the between. So you can just select it, duplicate it, just place it randomly according to your requirements or according to your music, whatever that you have. So let's make it 7 seconds and let's hit end. So we have this much of area to work with. As you can see, you can of course go ahead and change it, to create more random look, something like that. Looks pretty cool. Then what I'm gonna do is, let's say right over here, let's go to 2 seconds. Let's go to, let's say, 2 seconds. Select this logo comp and hit Ctrl Shift D to crop this up. There we go. Just place it below and just set this to red. And I'm gonna hit Ctrl D 3 times to create 3 copies. So now we have 3 copies. Let's set this to something like a pink color so we can identify it. So this is gonna be our green layer, this is gonna be our blue layer, and this is gonna be our red layer. Then what I can do is I can select the green layer and add an effect called level individual controls, and I'm just gonna assign each layer a particular color. So this is a green layer, so I'm gonna assign the green color to this, and by assigning I mean I can just set the red and the blue color property to 0, so we just have the green color. The same thing goes with the blue and the red, so we can just go right over here, hit Ctrl C to copy it, paste it on the B, that is the blue composition, bring down the properties and set the green one to 0 and blue to up to 25. Oh, 255, not 25. So there we have it, the blue color. And the same thing with the red one, hit Ctrl V to paste it up, bring down the properties, set the red property 255 and bring this down to 0. So make sure it's red. There we go. Then what I can do is I can select the blue and the green layer and set the blending mode to screen There we go. Then select the red layer. But before that, before going ahead, I forgot one step, that is creating a new null object, and let's rename this to glitch. This is basically gonna be our RGB glitch controller. So by that, I'm gonna add a slider controller over it like that. Then select the red layer, hit P to bring down the position properties. Make sure to lock this glitch layer up. And then I'm gonna hold Alt and click on the stopwatch of the position just like that, and add an expression called wiggle. Let's set this to 10, comma, and select the pick whip tool and just pick whip this to the slider control just like that. And at the very end, I'm gonna add a close parenthesis just like that. So now we don't see anything, but as I move the slider, you can see we get this really cool glitch. Now we're not getting the red and the green one, because we need to copy this thing on the red and the green one as well. So hit Ctrl C to copy it, select the blue and the green one, hit P to bring down the position properties, hold Alt and click on the stopwatch and hit Ctrl V to paste it up, and the same goes right over here as well. And now you can see we have some really cool looking glitch. See, you can always play around with the displacement map. So you can go right over there, just unlock this and play around with the displacement to create a different kind of a look, as you can see. And this looks really cool. Now the thing with this is it's gonna keep on animating, because the wiggle expression is added to the position. It's gonna animate forever. So we need to keyframe the slider. That is why we created the slider control. So what I can do is I can go right over here where our displacement map is getting started, set this to 0, create a keyframe, hit U so we can see the keyframe, go one frame forward in time by hitting page down, and set this to around, let's say 30, depending on how advanced or how, you know, more glitchy you want to make it. So I'm gonna go with 30. That looks good to me. Hit Ctrl C, select the keyframes and hit Ctrl C to copy it, go right over here and Ctrl V to paste it, then select and then make sure the keyframe is selected, right click and set this to time reverse keyframes. So now we have something like that. You can see, really cool. Then select this, hit Ctrl C to copy it, go right over here, hit Ctrl V to paste it up, and the same right over here as well, hit Ctrl V to paste it up. So we have something like that. So as you can see, our basic glitch is created and looks really cool actually. Now I have placed this, you know, glitch adjustment layer or displacement map adjustment layers randomly, but you can, you know, place it according to your sound animation as well. As you saw in the preview, I animated them or placed them according to the sound. So now what I can do is, I don't actually want the map, the displacement map right over here, so I'm going to delete it. And what I can do is select the logo layer and set the track matte to Luma matte. So now we have something like that, as you can see. So we have some different kind of glitches. This is going to be during the beginning of the glitch, and then we have these glitches, really cool ones. Yep, that is actually looking pretty good. Maybe I'll just keyframe it. Let's see if it works for now. I don't really know if it would work or not. Or maybe instead of keyframing, I can just drag it just like that to 15 frames. So it's going to start just like that. And then we have our really cool glitches. And that's all to this glitch animation. Now we need to go ahead and start creating our background and stuff. And alright, so now what we can do is we can select all the layers, right click and pre-comp this, and let's call this our logo animation. Hit OK, and we can hide this for now. And let's start building our background. So to create that, the first thing I need to drag in my background image that I have right over here. There we have it. It's a pretty big image. I'm going to just scale this down and make it 3D. There we go. And then what we can do is I'm going to mask it actually. So let's select my rectangle tool and I'm going to create a mask, something like that. Let's align this. Oh, the mask doesn't get aligned. Let's set this to subtract, so we have something like that. Then I'm duplicate it hit Control D, and let's go to mask. Let's hide this one for now. Let's select the mask, and I'm gonna drag in, so hit V, just select this, just drag in, just like that. There we go. Hit Control D again, so now we have 3 copies. Hit M to bring down the mask property and just set this to add, so now we have something like that. Make sure they all are 3D. Let's create a new camera pretty quick, and I'll keep it at 28mm. Looks good to me. And let's go into our top view. Select this one, that is the last one, and just drag it behind just like that. Select the middle one, maybe I'll just drag it somewhere around there. Select this one, and maybe I'll just drag this. We'll select this one and drag it forward, I guess, somewhere around there. Select this one and just drag it somewhere around there. So let's go into active camera and see how it looks. It looks pretty pathetic. Let's go to camera. You can see we have something like that, which doesn't really looks good, but anyways, we can play around with this. We don't need to really worry about it. So what we can do is we can just go into back in our top view, bring this back, select this, bring this back just like that. So now we have something like that. We select this, and we can always scale the mask up just like that, and increase the feather, something like that. Select this one, increase the feather of this as well, so it gets blend pretty nicely, something like that. As you can see, we have something like this, but it's not really looking that good. Maybe I'll just decrease the feather a bit, something like that. Let's see, somewhere we're getting somewhere. Maybe we need to play around with it. It's a bit time consuming. You can take your time, just try to figure out a really cool position. Yep, actually that is looking pretty good. I'll select this one actually and go to mask expansion. Let's go right over here, bring this down just like that, so you can see we can play around with this as well. But I'm gonna set this to 0 actually, because the mask expansion works from all the corners, and I just want it to work on the side corners. So maybe I'll just drag it down just like that, something like that. Let's select this one, just drag it just like that, and yep, that is looking pretty okay for now. Maybe I'll select the camera and zoom in a bit, so now we get this really nice depth. You can see looks really cool. Now to add a bit more depth to it, I have some few more sets which I'm going to use. So I'm going to add the dust, make it 3D, and let's change the blending mode to to multiply actually. So we have something like that, as you can see, and let's place this ahead. I don't know why it's acting so weird right over here. I don't really know. Let's place it somewhere around there. I don't know why this white colors that we get, I don't really know. Let's go into mask and let's see the mask expansion. Yup, let's set this all the way up. There we go. So there we have our dust. You can see it's really minimal, but it's gonna create a huge impact on the parallax. So maybe place it somewhere around there. Hit Control D to create one more duplicate. Just place it somewhere around there. I'm doing it pretty randomly. You don't need to be really precise. Say select the dust too. There we have it. Set this to screen, and I'm gonna mask it up. So just really randomly, I'm gonna just mask it up just like that and feather it out. And there we go. and decrease the opacity a bit, something like that. Make sure to make it 3D, and I'm gonna place it ahead just like that. It's gonna be somewhere around there, and bring down the opacity. Depending on your requirements, it's just not necessary to follow the exact same steps. You can just do it pretty randomly. Once you get the idea, you can just hit Ctrl D to duplicate it. Just try to create some really nice depth, and if you don't understand, you can just go into the top view and place it accordingly. So you can place somewhere around there just to create a little bit more randomness. So if I select my camera, you can see we get this really nice kind of parallax look to it. Let's take this scratch, set this to screen as well, and bring down the opacity a bit, something like there. Select the pen tool and create a mask, and feather this up, something like that. And by the way, I use shortcuts too much, so I'm switching between, you know, the V and the A, G and the A. I keep switching between G and A for the pen tool, G for the pen tool, and V for the, you know, selection tool, this one. So select this, make sure to make it 3D. Let's go into our top view, place it somewhere around there. Place it. Let's see how it looks right over here. I don't really see if we can see that. Yep, there we go. Let's scale this down a bit, something like that, and hit Ctrl D to duplicate it. Just place it right over here, something like that. So let's see, that is looking pretty good. Maybe I'll place it a bit more close to the camera, something like that, and bring down the opacity just like that, so we get a bit more, you know, parallax look. As you can see right over here, see, looks really cool. The same thing I'm gonna do with this scratch as well. Let's bring this close to our camera, something like that. So if I hit C to bring down, to select my camera tool, and as you can see, we get this really nice parallax. Let's add one more scratch that we have right over here. This is going to be in the center. Let's set this to screen and change the blending mode. Oh, it's already changed to screen. Make it 3D and change the opacity down just like that. Select the ellipse tool maybe this time and just create kind of a mask like that, and feather this up. Hit V. Just bring this close to our camera, and let's see what we have. Yup, as you can see, we get this really nice depth. As you can see, the more, you know, complex you want to create, add some more depth to it and more scratches as well. So let's add this last one as well that I have right over here. Let's set this to screen, something like that. Feather this up. It's basically the same process, just placing it in 3D space, you know, randomly. Make this 3D. I'll place it somewhere around there, and bring down the opacity a bit more. Hit T to bring down the opacity, by the way. Hit Ctrl D to duplicate it, and let's place it somewhere around there. So let's go ahead and start animating our camera, but before that, I'm gonna bring up my logo animation so we can see him. Make it 3D. So as you can see, we have our logo animation. Let's scale this down a bit, just too big. Right over here. 2 seconds. Then I'm going to create a new null object. This is going to be our camera controller, so just parent the camera, but before that, make the null object 3D and parent the camera to the null object. So right over here, spread this to the null object. Now we can animate our camera using the null object. You see, looks really cool, isn't it? So let's start from right over here. Create a keyframe, go back in time all the way and zoom this up or bring this closer like that. So now we have something like that, as you can see. Maybe I'll bring the text layer a bit forward, just like that. So let's see. You can see it looks pretty cool. So let's select this, hit F9 to ease them. Go to graph editor and I'm gonna create something like that. Yeah, this is looking really cool. I think the glitch is just there for too much time. Let's go into our logo animation comp and maybe I'll go to 1 second and 15 frames and crop this up just like that and bring this layers a bit ahead in time, just like that. So let's see what we have. Yeah, this is looking pretty good actually, as you can see. And what I'm gonna do is hit U. Let's go to 6 second and bring this up a little bit. So we have this small kind of an, you know, zoom in animation at the same time. Let's see it. Yep, that is looking pretty good. Maybe a bit more. So let's see it. Yep, that is looking pretty good. Let's add a little bit of wiggle to the position. So I'm gonna hold Alt and click on the position and add some wiggle. And parentheses, I'm gonna add 0, 5, 10. I don't know, maybe it would work. Oh, that's 100. Trend and close parentheses. Let's see. No, maybe I'll just set this. I don't need this 0, I guess. So let's see. That is just too much. I'll set this to maybe around. Let's go with 6. And let's go with 3. Let's see. Yup, that is looking pretty good, as you can see. I think it's just too much. Maybe let's go with 5. I want kind of a handheld effect. It should look like handheld camera, you know, so really subtle but really interesting, as you can see. Yup, there we go. This looks perfect to me. But you can always play around with some animation, you know, make it look really cool and give it your flavor to it. But we're not done yet. Let's make the composition, let's make this composition look a bit more interesting. Oh, there we have some problem right over here. Let's see, we are zooming out too much. So let's go right over here. Go to this keyframe and just right over there. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new solid by hitting Ctrl Y on the keyboard. Let's rename this to color. Let's make it a complete red, something like that. And I'm going to go select my ellipse tool and just create a mask, something like that, and feather this up like a lot, like that. Let's change the blending mode to maybe overlay. There we go, looks pretty good. Let's go something like that. Increase the feather a bit more. Yep, that is looking actually pretty good. Let's select this, hit Ctrl D to duplicate it, make it 3D as well. I almost forgot to make it 3D. So let's delete this one. So there we have it, and let's bring this up just like that. So now we can see we get this really nice depth. Yep. Now I can hit Ctrl D to duplicate it, and let's bring this right over here. I should probably use the transform tool, but being a bit lazy right over here. Let's add a fill pretty quick, and let's give it a blue color. There we have it. Looks pretty cool. Maybe a bit more lighter, something like that. Yep, that is looking pretty cool. Let's hide the control layers by hitting Ctrl Shift H. So yep, that is looking pretty cool. Let's do some CC over it. So I'm gonna add a new adjustment layer. Let's rename this to CC. Add a curves to it, something like that. Go in the blue channel and bring up this a bit, so you can see we're getting there. You can see, look, this is looking really good actually. Maybe we'll add a levels to it. Let's play around with this. Or maybe I'll just, don't need the levels. I'll bring up the saturation a bit. So let's add a hue and saturation. Let's bring this up a bit, just like a touch. And as you can see, we have some really cool effect. Now it's a pretty, you need to play around with this effects. Like you can, create a different camera, give it a different kind of look, play around in the Z space and be some creative, a little bit more creative and cool, and use this technique to create some different camera angles, something like that, kind of a panning effect, you can see, just like that, and create some really cool stuff. The main aim behind this tutorial is to give you guys an idea to create something of your own instead of just following the tutorial exactly like a horse. You can anytime experiment with the settings. Once you understand everything, you can step by step try and create something of your own. So my aim behind all my tutorials is just that you guys can create something new every time you watch my tutorial. So that's all for today. That is a wrap. I hope this video helps you guys in some or the other way, and if it does, make sure to comment down below, like this video, and don't forget to subscribe and share this video with all your designer friends. And I'll see you in my next video. Till then, take care. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and don't forget to stay raw, stay creative.